Good evening, grave robbers, and welcome back to the television graveyard. We are your TV necromancers, Laura Prince and Noah Houlihan. We have come here tonight to examine the spirits of past television shows to find out which ones could be resurrected, should be resurrected, and which ones should just stay doomed. This is a podcast in which we will analyze the history, the hype, and the aftermath of shows that ran only one season, only one episode, or nearly caused Chris Angel to punch a man. With me, as always, is TV's Noah Houlihan.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We are back to Phenomenon.
Yes, Phenomenon ended up being a two-parter, which is fine by me because I dig this. It's a very weird show. If you haven't listened to the first part of this, it's weird that you chose to listen to this one. But we're going to jump back into Phenomenon.
Phenomenon!
So Phenomenon opens on the fight between Jim Callahan and Chris Angel.
Yes.
They are going to milk this for every bit of press that they can get.
Milk was the exact word I was going to use. They are trying to get every last drop of... this is before things really went viral, but this would have been on YouTube. The extended version would have been on YouTube with different camera angles.
Yeah. There was... I did find a video of all three of them. That being Chris Angel, Callahan, and Uri Geller all responding to it. So yeah. They really milked this for content. They
absolutely did. But, at the end of the day, it's also Chris Angel's show. So he's going to get the last word.
Yes. And the mystery of what's in the envelope will continue throughout the rest of the show.
Yeah, we're only in episode 3, so don't think you're going to get anything
until the end.
Yeah.
So we actually do start with some eliminations. So in this round, we are eliminating 3 of the 6, I almost said comics, a mentalist that competed on Halloween night.
Yes.
We lose.
Well, I actually like the way they do this elimination.
Oh, go ahead.
Because they have 2 people step forward for each elimination. One is eliminated and one safe.
Yeah.
Mike and Jan... please step forward. Mike. Congratulations, you're safe. Please leave the stage.
Yes.
Which I actually thought was really interesting because it meant there was some suspense. Because it wasn't, they were 3 people who did super well step forward.
Right.
Which is more of how you would expect. You'd be if Bob was a standout and it's, Bob, Janet, and Chris, and they were all amazing, step forward. You don't think they're going to get sent home.
Right.
So by having pairs step forward.
Yeah, you have that moment of being who was the better of the 2.
Yes. So Faux Hawk Mike and Jan step forward.
Yes, Mike Super.
I have him in my notes as Faux Hawk Mike. If I say he's 2007 Faux Hawk guy, you have a pretty solid mental image of him right now.
True.
So he is safe.
Yeah, Mike Super stays and we lose Jan.
Yes.
Mike Super did the trick that I did with my buddy Chad, where he predicted a murder.
But he did it right.
Yes. Jan, I'm looking for Jan's trick, and I don't quite see it in my notes. So, wasn't memorable.
Yeah, Jan is the one with the matchboxes.
Oh,
where they eat all the matchboxes at him.
I thought that was a decent trick. I was surprised to see him go.
And then we get Wayne and Angela step forward.
Yes.
And I'm like, no. And then Wayne is dismissed, and I go, woo!
Yes, Angela stayed, who did the knife roulette. Wayne, the sleazeball, goes home. I guess playing the sleazeball unlikable villain in a show where
it's totally voting in popularity.
Yeah, is not the best way to go. Then we have Guy, and
Jim. My next note is, come on, Jim.
They get rid of Jim Callahan.
Which I'm really surprised by, because I might have voted for Jim because it's interesting.
Yes, but I think at the time, Chris Angel was the expert and the celebrity of the show. So I think most people just sided with Chris Angel. Chris Angel said, you're a bad person. They went, well, we like Chris Angels, and I don't know this other guy, so let's get rid of him.
We have eliminated the most interesting player. Good job, America. The 3 guest hosts are 3 of the women from The Girls Next Door.
Yes, we have 3 Playboy bunnies.
Which is a reality show about the Playboy Mansion.
Yes. I do want to throw out a Jim quote.
Yes.
When they ask Jim how you feel about being eliminated, he responds,
well, I'm off the show. I can do interviews tomorrow, so that's great.
I could not find these interviews. I looked. It didn't seem like anybody really wanted to talk to him.
So, yeah, which is you'd think somebody. Again, if this show had come out now-ish, he would have had 40 low popularity 2-bit YouTubers.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know what the other 39 of them were willing to offer, but...
I mean, I did reach out to Jim Callahan and ask to do an interview.
Oh, yeah, we were one of the 40.
Yeah, so... let me double check my email just to be sure that he has not gotten back to me.
The email. What? The email.
No, he has not returned my message.
Boo.
Maybe I should reach out via Ouija board.
Did Raymond?
I've gotten no response from Raymond either. He left me unread.
Oh, did you do it right? Did you write it backwards so you had to read it in a mirror?
Well, I used a Ouija board and I got 3 periods and then nothing. So he was gonna respond and then he decided not to.
So I have a note when we meet the guest hosts, who are the women from The Girls Next Door. Oh my god, I'm so glad Wayne's not in this episode.
Yes, thank God.
Because I'm like, ooh, he would have been weird and disrespectful. I go, oh, it's Mike time. Here are my next 2 notes. Mike leaves you in zero doubt as to what year this was recorded. He is a 2007 cosplay.
Yes.
And then he announces that...
First off, let me begin by saying I'm very excited to announce I am now an international performer, which means I've been to Canada. Thank you.
Which, I love that.
That's a good joke. It's a good joke. So his trick is he's going to do voodoo. He has a voodoo doll that he puts bunny ears on to represent the playmate that he has brought on stage.
My next note. White dude doing voodoo, 2007.
Yeah. So he has her close her eyes, and then he touches the doll, and she feels it. Which is the same trick Ehud did on the first episode.
That's my next notice. This is the same trick from the first episode. Again, this is where they're all mentalists.
There's only so much you can do.
There are not a lot of tricks.
Yeah. You can't mentalist make a tiger appear.
Or can you?
No, you can't. I'm telling you right now, you can't. So he then does he takes it. It's better than Ehud's version. He puts a flame under her foot and she feels the heat.
Yeah.
And then he stabs it in the butt and she jumps out of her chair.
Yeah.
And then
he pulls out 2 more dolls.
2 extra voodoo dolls and points to the 2 girls who are not on stage, who are sitting on the bench. And he's like, stab your doll at the same time as mine.
Yeah.
We're going to do this to her. And as he's about to do it, the 2 girls jump up from the bench they're sitting on.
Yeah.
And they don't feel it. And Mike Super goes, it didn't work because you didn't believe enough.
You've escaped this time because her belief wasn't strong enough.
Almost do you think the bench was rigged?
That's 100% what happened.
So it was essentially, it's tough to be a bug in Disney World.
Yes.
Lit.
Exactly. It's also essentially what they did to Wee Man in Jackass number 2 when Jim Carroll pretended to throw cards at him. So I'm curious if Jim Carroll stole this trick and brought it to Jeff Tremaine and the Jackass crew. Deep thoughts.
So, it's Aaron's turn.
Aaron Raven is back.
Oh yeah, when he lights the doll's hands on fire and blows them out, when Mike does that, there's soot on her hands.
Yes, he
which
gives
I think
her
is a nice touch.
stigmata.
Aaron's time. Aaron's mom is here.
Yes.
And he has snakes. Aaron was the fellow who played Russian roulette with the nail guns.
Yes.
And the host has an aura of, crap.
So, last time he played Russian roulette with nail guns, now he's got 4 jars. Like big vases.
Yeah.
And in 3 of them, he's putting snakes. There is a cobra, a boon viper, and like a mamba or something. 2 of them are very, very poisonous. One of them just has a lot of teeth.
Yeah, rattlesnake, a monocle cobra, a bite will kill you, it's a long agonizing death, and the boon viper?
The boon viper.
Who is also instant death, and he's got, according to my note, quote, long-ass fangs.
Long-ass fangs.
And then my note is, the 4th one is Ted, I guess. He's chill.
So...
Snakey no want to go in jars.
Yeah, none of them want to go in the jar. So there are like 2 snake experts desperately trying to get these snakes into jars, and the snakes are not interested.
Yeah, they're trying to wrestle these 2 snakes into jars, and like they don't want to go.
So, and then is one of the jars empty or something that?
No, the thing I thought was Ted, the chill snake, is a necklace.
It's a necklace. That's.
I just thought he was like real cool.
No. So he takes a necklace from one of the bunnies.
Yeah.
And it's like, focus on your necklace. And then the idea is they're all in the jars. They spin the jars. And then he's going to drive his hand into one. And we're going to trust that he's not going to open the jar and, look in before sticking his arm in.
Well, he doesn't.
Well, he doesn't because he opens the first jar, sticks his arm in, and then yells, "That's a snake!"
Stop! Oh my god, that's a snake. It bit me. Oh.
Did he get you?
Yeah, what snake was that?
You are one lucky son
What
of a gun.
snake is that?
Non-venomous. Non-venomous.
Oh, look at that. Oh, wow, that hurts. Are we still live? Are we still? Can we continue?
And he gets bit and he is bleeding. And I go, well, hope that was Ted.
So,
By the way, Ted is not the canon name of this snake. I have decided the snake's name is Ted.
he gets bit. He is bleeding. The snake experts run in and go, "You're a lucky son of a bitch. That's the non-poisonous one."
Yeah.
And then Aaron Raven goes, "Are we still live? Can I keep going?" And then he goes up to her and is like, "Okay, you were focusing on where the necklace wasn't. I need you to focus on where the necklace is, okay?" And then he goes over, sticks his hand in a jar. It's now a 1 in 3, 1 in 3 chance instead of a 1 in 4 chance. And he finds the necklace. Let's talk about ethics.
This snake is probably... I also want to point out, I feel like there's a really good chance these snakes are not venomous.
It would be stupid if they were venomous. Because, one, ethically, to be in a situation where you can screw up and die is ethically wrong to do to an audience.
Yeah.
2, to bring out 2 very poisonous snakes and then have trouble putting them into said jar
Yeah.
is very ethically irresponsible. That all being said, if you screwed up and you got bit by a snake, it is ethically irresponsible to then go up to your volunteer and go, "That's your fault."
Yeah.
I don't buy any of this. I don't buy that any of the snakes are poisonous. I don't buy that he accidentally picked the wrong jar. I think he was like, this'll make me memorable, is if I get bit by a snake and keep going and I'm valiant. And it'll add credibility that what I'm doing is real. Because the snake that bites him is like built up as having like so many razor sharp teeth.
Yeah.
I don't see a drop of blood.
Oh, there's blood.
Where?
On his arm. Like, I saw it.
Because he wipes it with like a napkin or like a dirty tissue he has. And then he gets rid of it. Like, there's no like nursing a wound. If he was ripped apart, he would continue to bleed.
I mean, I think he actually does get, but, because you do not defang a snake. Fangs grow back. You would devenom a snake. And that's actually also ethically crappy to do.
Right.
But it wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, I don't even believe it was the snake he said it was.
Yeah. Although they are real snake breeds. I did look into it.
Oh, yeah, they're real snake breeds, but it's the same way that, like, a wrestling show will do a piranha death match and then fill it with just fish.
Who would do such a thing?
Like, I am not a snake expert, and I wanted to take the time to, like, really try to identify these snakes. The rip that we have is not the highest quality, and I was unable to, like, say for sure that these snakes are what they said they were. But I do not believe for a second that when he stuck his hand in the jar, that it was an accident.
No.
Like, that was all part of the show. And, I mean, it's a magic trick, and adding some, like, panache to this is fine.
It's just weird because the panache makes you look stupid.
I think he was trying to create the story that, like, things won't work if you don't try hard enough. And, like, show, like, how his powers work. In the end, like, to me, it takes the enjoyment out of the trick. Because he's presenting that something has, like, actually gone wrong. Like, this is not one of those tricks where, like in How Now You See Me, where the redheaded girl gets eaten by piranhas and then appears in the audience.
Yeah.
It's not that. Like, there's never, got you, I turned the snake into a bunny rabbit or anything like that. He's like, no, I got bit by a snake and I'm just going to keep going now. I don't appreciate that type of stuff.
I just think it's lame. Like, yeah. I think it just makes him look stupid. It makes her look stupid.
That brings us to Angela Fulovitz.
Yep. The Masters do actually respond that Chris Angel would like to see him do something that's not roulette.
Yes, because we've seen the same trick, like, a lot now.
Yeah. So Angela is going to use fire.
Yes, Angela Fulovitz is next, and she's going to do something with fire. She does something that's clearly just like a prop that makes fire appear. It's a candle. It's a lighter disguised as a candle.
Yeah.
And she does this. There's like this weird audio issue at this point where they have to like bring out an extra microphone.
Yes.
She does a trick that David Blaine did in his specials where he asks her to think of someone important to her and write it on a piece of paper.
Yeah, and she immediately wishes she had picked a different person.
Yes. And Angela burns it, and, like, this person's no longer with us or no longer in your life, and it turns out it's the volunteer's father, who clearly she didn't have a great relationship with. And Angela takes the candle, or at this point like a torch, and starts like rubbing it on her thigh.
Yeah.
And then she pulls up her dress and
she puts a hot towel over it first.
Oh, she does put the hot towel,
which I think is a lot. I think there's a lot of subterfuge in that moment. Mm-hmm. And then she pulls it out, and I was like, it's gonna say the girl's dad's name on her leg.
Yes, it's. I think it's meant to be like a burn.
Yeah.
that happened to spell her father's name.
I have a note. This is very Chris Angel. He's gonna love it.
Yes. This is a trick that I've seen done many times before, where usually you do it with ash, and you rub the ash of the thing on your arm. This is a great take on it, and Angela does it very well. But of course, we then have to put up with the judges using the double entendre of hot 100 times.
Yeah. And she also, for the rest of this, sells that burn. She sells the burn for the entire, rest of the episode.
Yes, which I appreciate the dedication to the bit.
Yeah, I was like, I liked that.
This brings us now to Jerry McCambridge. He was the phone number guy. He's doing another prediction type illusion or feat of mentalism, where he has put a prediction in a clear box, so you can see it sitting there in the box.
Yes.
And he brings all three playmates up to choose paintball guns. And each gun has a different color in it.
Yep.
And he is going to stand against a wall, let the playmates shoot him, and then reveal his prediction of where he thought each colored paintball would go.
This trick looks like crap.
This goes horrendously wrong.
The scopes aren't even close to where the squibs go off.
Yeah, so
there's clearly paint squibs.
So there is a laser sight on the paintball guns, and you see where the laser is pointing, and then the fire goes off, and it hits nowhere near that spot. And you actually hear the girls saying, these guns, they're so off.
Yeah.
No, I don't get it.
And a lot of times they shoot him and paint doesn't appear. If they shot him in the wrong place.
Mm-hmm. So he gets shot 3 times. He opens the box, and what do you know? The prediction's correct.
Yeah.
Now, it's very clear that Laura believes that paint squibs are involved in this trick.
I do.
I actually don't think so. Because, one, I fired a paintball gun, and they're the least accurate thing you can ever shoot. You could not move and pull the trigger twice, and the paint will hit in 2 completely different spots. But I couldn't help but laugh. He takes this clear box, turns it so you can no longer see the clear part, and puts it on the exact same table that Mike Super used for his trick.
So it's a gimmicked table.
I laughed so hard that it's the same trick. What?
I'm gonna be honest though, because
it happened last episode.
But it looks bad. It looks bad enough that I thought I figured it out.
It's especially bad that you have a very plausible and probably better solution to how to do this, because in reality, your solution's better, and that's not how he did it, and he got shot a bunch of times for no reason.
I'm a fan of Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga?
And she used to set off blood squibs during paparazzi.
Mm-hmm.
So, that was my first thought, is I'm oh, this is the paparazzi blood squibs.
To be honest, this reminded me of a good, Fool Us trick. Because the new thing about Fool Us is not so much, can I create a trick so good that it fools Penn and Teller? It's, can I create a trick that Penn and Teller will guess I did it this way when I did it that way? And the trick you're describing, in watching that, you would of course think, oh, the paint squibs are not working. Even though that's not the solution.
Yeah. The last one is, he gets good notices from Yuri and Chris, which I think is wrong. And then we get Guy.
Yes, Guy is going to do a trick with acid. This is a very important trick for me. Guy has a bunch of vials of liquid that are filled with acid.
Yep.
Air quotes. And 1 glass of water. He asks one of the Playboy Playmates to mix it in, and he will try to figure out which one has the acid in it and which one has the water in it. And he'll take the one that has the water in it and drink it.
Yeah.
The way he's showing that it's acid is he's taking like a tin foil ball and throwing it into the vial.
Yeah.
And then it will start to smoke. Like,
yeah.
Oh, see, it's dissolving. Acid.
Like that. But that's probably not the only thing that would get that reaction, is it?
Exactly. So you actually see sometimes where like it doesn't work right and he's like poking it and stuff. Like, wow, why won't it go? It should also be noted that he mixes it in such a way that the volunteer no longer knows which vial has the water in it.
Yeah.
So that perhaps every vial just has water in it. And what he's throwing in there is a tinfoil ball with potassium in it.
Ooh.
Potassium is an element that becomes conductive when introduced to water.
And it is good for you in bananas.
And it's good for you in bananas. But if you take just a piece of potassium and put it into water, it will conduct.
Yeah.
So there is no acid. And he's just throwing in potassium and drinks one of the waters at the end. This is an important trick to me because, one, someone else did this trick and did it with actual acid and ended up drinking acid and went to the hospital. Which is super dumb because it's a very easy way to do this trick. 2, this is the trick that I watched live that made me love trying to figure out how these tricks were done.
Oh.
Because I remember watching this, and I had just learned about potassium in school. And I was just like, I know how they're doing this.
Leonardo DiCaprio meme.
Yeah, I was like, I get this. And then, like, this was kind of like the awakening of like, oh, I can figure this out. Like, I don't want to say as far as, like, I believed they could do the feats that they were doing. Like, I knew that there was more to it, but the idea that, like, oh, this is possible for me is what really brought me down the road of, like, trying to, like, come up with the methods on my own and stuff. Because back when I was attempting to become a magician, I was always trying to create my own tricks rather than read a book, which is the Chris Angel method, which I don't recommend. This is like a core memory for me, is when I realized how this trick was done.
So, my note is, this takes too long.
All these tricks take way too long. And I believe it gets cut off here, because I think we are missing part of this episode. We do lose, like, the actual ending to this.
Yeah.
But this trick takes way too long. The paintball gun takes way too long. Like, I think they just run out of time for this episode. Because there's no, like, is the impossible possible? It's just like, all right, we're done.
Yeah. Again, the pacing is a consistent issue in this show. So, episode 4 opens with very interesting twist on an elimination.
Yes, I don't like this.
No, it's interesting. Interesting is not always good. The 5 remaining people, Aaron, Guy, Angela, Mike, and Jerry, are all on stage.
Yes.
And Angela's just announced that she's going to the final, completely without suspense. Bye.
Yes.
Cool.
Angela's safe.
Also Mike.
Also Mike is safe.
We'll figure out about the 3 of you later.
And they're just like, yeah, we'll come back to this. It's like, wait, what? And I don't know if they're giving away that Angela and Mike were 1 and 2 in terms of, like, popularity.
That's what I assumed.
But they were like, Aaron, Jerry, Guy, I'll go backstage. Maybe you'll perform later. Maybe I don't know. See ya.
Tia Carrera is one of the guest judges for this episode. And a very young Kim Kardashian.
Yeah! Kim Kardashian's here. I can't keep up with her.
Angela's trick just doesn't hit.
Yeah,
it's about, like, crystals and birthstones.
Yes.
It is by far her weakest trick. I don't really even totally get what she was doing.
She was just like, it was a lot of like, think of a crystal, you're thinking of this crystal. Ha, gotcha. Like, that was basically it. There was no, like, panache. There was no, like, sleight of hand. Just, like, it was another prediction trick, but by far with the least amount of, like, exciting phenomenon around it. That being said, her assistant, while she's going through this, one of the, like, celebrity guest assistants, at one point goes,
"Are you David Copperfield, or?" "I'm not."
As if she was unaware she was going to be on a magic show. My two ideas is she didn't know what it was going to be on. She was going to be on a magic show, and she was just completely blown away by all the weird things going on. Or two, she thought of that line, like, before the show. She's like, I'm going to say that. That's going to get a good reaction. Are you David Copperfield?
You made the saddest
I don't think I could make that noise again if I wanted to.
You made the saddest little squeak.
It's like I swallowed a tiny bicorn.
Chris and Uri both didn't like it. We also get a weird clip of Angela just, like, doing street magic.
Well, it should also be noted that, like, she gets one wrong during that trick as well.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, is it this one? And they're like, no. She's like, all right. Is it this one? Yes. Oh, okay, good. It's like, nah, we all saw you miss.
And then Mike does a trick with the isolation cabana.
This is a good trick.
Yes. He gives all three of the guest hosts a can of spray paint.
Yes.
Tells one of them to write a word.
Mm-hmm.
One of them to just draw a simple picture.
Yes.
And
a color.
A color.
So they are locked in this cabana, and there's, like, these weird velvet ropes.
Yeah, and tells them not to step in the velvet ropes.
Yes, so don't step in the velvet ropes, but, like, there's these velvet ropes right here. He has them all write things down. I make the joke that Kim Kardashian picked the color red because it's the only one she could spell. And so it was red, it was a skull, and I forget what the other thing... Oh, it was motorcycle. It was the word motorcycle. He successfully, like, predicts that those were going to be the things.
Yeah.
Like, I knew you were going to pick red, I knew you were going to pick motorcycle, I knew you were going to pick skull. Ta-da! And then he closes the cabana, opens the cabana, and a red motorcycle appears in the velvet ropes.
With a skull on the seat.
With a skull on it.
And the entire thing, he's also roasting Tia Carrera, who drew a skull crappily.
Yeah. But I love this. The explanation he gives is, I hypnotized the three of you, and the audience here, and the audience at home, to be unable to see the motorcycle. And then I unhypnotized you so you could see it. So he doesn't make a motorcycle appear and disappear. He just makes it invisible to us through hypnosis.
Yeah.
I love that as a ridiculous justification of how the trick is done. I said before, like, you can't mentally make a tiger appear. This is how you mentally make a tiger appear. You say it was there the whole time, just we couldn't see it.
Yeah.
I also have to say, slight spoiler, this is a major plot point in the film Late Night with the Devil.
Is it?
Yeah, where it's just like, I hypnotized you, you didn't see that. So I couldn't stop thinking about that during this.
What's great is he also just absolutely mops the floor with Angela in that moment.
Yes.
Like, Angela flops and he just crushes it.
Yeah, because it should be noted, according to, like, our theory, Angela was ahead because she was the first person safe, and then Mike was second. So this was, like, the moment Mike needed to really step up and possibly become the phenomenon.
So, I mean, and he crushes it. He absolutely crushes it.
So yeah, it's a great trick. I love it.
Then we bring back the 3 who had not been yet committed to move forward. And, by the way, Erin's gonna move on, okay?
Yeah, Erin's safe, don't worry.
Also, Guy and Jerry are not yet out.
Yes.
Chris and Yuri will get to choose one of them that gets to go to the finale.
Yes, they're going to save one of them, basically justifying why they all get to perform.
Yeah.
Which I was like, okay, that's kind of fun.
Aaron makes an obstacle course with glass, scorpions, and razor blades. He blinds himself with coins and duct tape.
No, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm on the wrong page of my notes.
Yeah, I was like, no, I'm absolutely right. I don't know what you're looking at, but watching Kim Kardashian struggle bus with a container full of scorpions makes Aaron get my vote. Because she struggles with that container of scorpions,
yes.
and it is hilarious.
And
he almost grabs Tia Carrera's boob, and she just very sharply goes, "Watch it!"
Watch it.
And I'm like, I would like her and Ross to be on an episode together. Because they were my 2 favorite guest hosts.
I will say, I'll say this now. When she was saying that, I was like, man, I would love to see more Tia Carrera, and magic. They should do a show where they teach, celebrities magic. And just see who could become the best magician.
Didn't they do that?
They did! It's a VH1 reality show!
How long did it run?
1 season!
1 season, you say?
Yes, I think it's Hal Sparks. I think Stay Doomed alumnus Gary Busey might be involved in that one.
Does Celebracadabra!
Celebracadabra.
Oh my god! Now that you now I remember, yeah, because I'm just looking at, who was on it. C. Thomas Howell from The Outsiders?
Oh, really?
The film, not the new Broadway musical. Hal Sparks, Lisa Ann Walter, Aunt Carney Wilson.
Aunt was in everything in VH1.
And Kimberly Wyatt of the Pussycat Dolls.
Oh!
Interesting. Thought that was fun.
Yeah, so perhaps when we want to go back to the Magic Well, we'll do Celebracadabra.
If we can find it. Because it's a VH1 reality show, which means they're a little hard to come by.
They are, but we'll see. We will see. Basically the idea is Aaron is super blindfolded. He is going to walk down this path. And he doesn't know where the glass is or the scorpions are. So he has to kind of feel out where he has to take a larger step to not step on something that would harm his poor bare toesies. That's right. Showing feet for free.
I'm so sorry I taught you that bit.
When he gets to the end of the runway, there are 2 crash mats to his left and to his right.
One of them is safe, and the other one
has a bed of nails in it, like a CZW match. And
so fun.
I will say, this is where I was like, man, the production of this show is pretty good. Because he's taken these steps, and he kind of with each step, he raises his foot really high.
Yeah.
And then steps down. So there's always a moment of, oh, is this the time he's going to step on the glass? And I was like, man, I'm really impressed with the live band. Because the live band, hits these, really dramatic stings. Right before he's about to step on something dangerous to really build the tension. And also tell him where the glass is. So he can step over it. And in them, I want to be honest with you. That was my line of thinking. I was like, oh, this band is on. Oh, that's why they're doing that. All right.
Then the biggest magic trick to me that he pulls is still having eyebrows after taking the tape off.
Yeah.
I was like, how do you still have eyebrows?
I will say, though, it is a very entertaining trick to watch. He does, at the very end, he's left or right, what should I do? And he turns towards the bed of nails and goes, got it, and then falls backwards. And the camera kind of does this, nice tilt move.
Oh, yeah.
Production really helps Aaron Raven on this show.
Oh, it does.
Because this is one of the best looking and directed tricks on the show.
For sure. And so then, now Guy and Jerry have to go head to head in, two of... These feel unfair. Guy's is lame. Guy bends a stop sign.
Well, first he bends spoons.
Yeah, which I know is Uri Geller's thing.
Yeah. He just steals that effect. And Uri Geller calls it an effect at one point. Which is like giving away the fact that he's not really doing that. That it's an effect. But after he bends some spoons, he goes up to a stop sign. And it's like, all right, I need everyone to hold hands. Everybody hold hands. Uri and Chris hold hands. And Chris is like, no! I ain't touching Uri Geller. That's not in my contract. And with his mind, the stop sign bends. But, again, I'm going to shout out the Chris Angel video I did on the +2 wrestling channel of Scott Holiday. He doesn't give the stop sign any credibility. He spends no time
establishing it as a real stop sign.
As a real stop sign. Because let me think, what could he have done to show that it was a real stop sign? Well, he was holding a metal spoon. He could have whacked it so you could hear the metal sound. But he couldn't do that because it wasn't a big metal thing. It was a bendy thing.
Yep. It's kind of lame.
It's kind of lame. So that was Guy's trick. Jerry, who once again is our phone number and now paintball guy. He does a trick with postcards, where he lays out a bunch of postcards and says, "Choose one."
Yeah.
And she ends up choosing Paris. And he's like, that's very interesting. And she picks it up and it says, "You will choose Paris." Like a little message to Tia Korea.
Yeah.
And then he flips over all the other ones to show that they're blank. I was like, that's kind of a cool little trick. I dig it. And then he's like, I told this section of the audience to just scribble on some poster board. So there's like 40 people with poster board. Hold it up. And it's just a bunch of gibberish. He goes, okay, now everyone rotate it 90 degrees. And they spin it, and suddenly it turns into the Eiffel Tower. And now, like, all credibility of the trick is out the window for me. Because that's clearly not what happened. It's clearly not just draw some scribbles.
Yeah.
Plus, that would mean that a large portion of this audience decided not to draw anything on their poster board. Because some of them were blank.
And you're meaning to tell me you gave that many people poster board and a marker, and I did not see one phallus, nor one hi mom-esque message.
No one hi mom, nothing, yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, oh, that was a cool trick that I don't know how he did, to that's an impossible trick that could only be done one way. This is all fake.
Yeah.
It's a cool visual. It's a really cool visual. Like, I think you could have done the same trick of just being like, hey, do you see this gibberish that's behind me this whole time? Watch what happens when I spin all these cards. That could have been enough of a trick to like, have that great visual and effect. That's just my opinion. But that's what this podcast is.
That's just like my opinion, man. Guy wins between Guy and Jerry, and Guy gets to move on.
Yeah, despite the fact that I think Jerry's trick is much better, Guy moves on because he sucked up to Uri Geller and did his trick.
Yeah. We are at the finale.
Yes.
And Jim's in the audience. They make sure to show us that.
Oh, yeah, because we're going to find out who the phenomenon is, but no one cares about that. Let's talk about this envelope some more.
And we will also be solving another mystery that's been baffling fans across the country. What is inside Chris's envelopes? I'm dying to know, and it seems you are too.
A couple of weeks ago, I made the challenge to a specific contestant who claimed to be able to talk to the dead. The minute somebody says, this is supernatural, I'm just gonna bust him.
What's in the envelope? Right here.
I offered him $1 million if he could give me specific details on the contents of 2 envelopes right here.
2 small envelopes, one very big challenge. We asked you, America, and thousands weighed in at NBC.com. From a lock of Chris's hair to the name of tonight's winner to nothing at all, America still has not figured it out.
You want to know what's in the envelope? No one knows except me.
Ooh, what's in the envelope? We're gonna find out at the end of the show. Ooh. So, this is where the show really tries to be American Idol.
Yes.
We have our Final Four. And what does the Final Four do in American Idol? A group number.
Yes.
So they're going to do a group trick, and you can tell that it's none of their trick.
Yeah.
Like, none of them really do this trick, because they're all very clearly reading off a teleprompter.
Very clearly. With the Deal or No Deal girls for no apparent reason.
Yeah, the Deal or No Deal. Well, because Deal or No Deal's coming back. Get ready for a new season with Howie Mandel and all your favorite briefcase girls.
I didn't watch a lot of Deal or No Deal. Was there like a culture around like having a favorite briefcase girl?
I had one because one of them used to be a wrestler.
I feel like that's different.
But there was definitely episodes of Deal or No Deal where, like, instead of picking numbers, he picked models because he knew all their names.
That was that one specific episode, because that's the one where they're trolling the guy.
That happened more than once.
Oh,
There's also the one where, like, he had a crush on the one, so he picks her briefcase. And,
right.
Yeah, like, all... That was common to kind of, like... To make the briefcase girls have, like, a bit of a personality. So, yeah, there was a bit of, like... Also, there's, like, oh, hot girls with briefcases.
So, pretty much at the beginning, we get announced that, like, 4th place is Guy, and Guy is actually not moving
Do we
on.
want to say what the group trick was?
I don't have it in my notes.
Okay, so all 4 of them are standing, like, on stage, not moving. And they're all, like, reading the lines off the teleprompter of, like, we need 4 of the Deal or No Deal girls to come up here and choose a flag and put it next to us. You've chosen these flags at random. You could have chosen any flag in any position. And then they're all wearing, like, boiler suits.
Yeah.
They all rip open their boiler suits, and they're all wearing clothes that match the color of the flag that happened to be put next to them.
Yeah. It's
not a bad, like, effect, but it's weird to see a group number with magicians.
Yeah.
It's just like, it just feels awkward and weird.
But, yeah, and then they're pretty much like, oh, thanks, Guy, going home.
Yeah, and then just like, what an amazing trick. Guy, you're eliminated.
Like, and then there's like a heartrending little video of his daughter being like, I love you and I'm proud of you, Daddy.
You big loser.
No. It's just like, I love you, Dad. I'm so proud. You're the best.
Yeah, what a surprise that the guy that would have been eliminated last week was eliminated this week.
And then Aaron goes next.
Yes. Aaron does a trick that I really don't understand how it was done. Yeah, but guess who's back, guys?
Ross!
The star of Phenomenon from The Tonight Show, Ross.
Yay. So it's this one where they're essentially balancing him on 2 chairs.
Yeah, it's basically stiff as a board, light as a feather.
Yes.
And they pick him up and they're like, stay stiff. And, like, his calves and his shoulders are on a chair. And there's nothing, like, underneath him. And one of the Deal or No Deal girls, like, goes and reaches underneath and touches his butt. And he's like, don't touch my butt. If Ross is not in on it, I have no idea how this is done. Ross is probably in on it. That's probably how this is done. But yeah, like, it's a really good effect.
He lays a cinder block on Ross and sledgehammers it.
Yes.
It's a good trick.
Yeah.
It's Aaron's best trick, I think. It also looks slightly different.
Yeah, it's not him doing roulette.
Yeah.
I think Aaron was probably my favorite.
Yeah, Aaron has the strongest variety.
Yeah. After he does roulette twice.
Yeah.
He has some, like everything looks very interesting.
And then we get, like, some filler, and it's all of the non-finalists doing the clearly pre-filmed street magic bits.
Well, you forgot, one, Aaron's grandparents talked to him.
Yes.
And then two, there's just stuff about crop circles for a bit.
Oh, yeah, there's just, like, a little featurette about crop circles.
There's something...
And it's important to mention all of this little filler crap.
And, like, we watch this show pretty intensely. They're just like, it's time for the top 5 unexplained phenomenon. Number 4, crop circles. I was like, number 4? Where did number 5 go? Is that the phenomenon? But yeah, they waste a lot of time talking about crop circles. And then it's a bunch of people returning. It's the last episode, so all the eliminated survivors come back for the last Travel Council. And once again, Wayne's back. And I tap Laura on the shoulder like, look, it's Wayne! Wayne's back!
My next note. Ugh. I don't even know what he says or does. I just refuse to acknowledge it.
What his trick is, one of the Deal or No Deal girls grabs a handful of change and shakes it in his face. And he goes, that sounds like $1.50. And she opens her hand, and it's $1.50. You okay?
Yeah. There's like a ton of important stuff in that folder, and I thought this was full.
Oh, no.
And I was like, that's like your birth certificate.
Oh, gotcha.
I was like, I had that moment of, I gotta get that off there, because if he spills it on a bunch of important documents, we're gonna have a bad time.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then, like, Jim does one with, like, a rope about how, like, he, like, does a trick where he puts a rope through himself.
So, yeah, I would say most of these are not worthwhile. Like, none of this is worth really, like, bringing up in this podcast, except for Jim Callahan, because he does an effect where he says, this is the difference between an illusionist and a paranormalist. And he makes it look like the rope's going through his body.
Yeah.
And then he turns to another angle so you could see it going directly through his chest. It's still an effect, but it's a better effect. And it's him crapping on Chris Angel and saying that he's better because he's a paranormalist.
Yep.
So I was like, all right, cool. It's interesting that he's still required to be there.
Yeah.
And, like, do this crap after everything that's going on. Which, again, like, makes me wonder if this is just all staged or if there's any validity to this fight at all.
I have no idea.
I have no idea. I messaged him. I Ouija boarded him. And he's not got back to me.
And then we get Mike's last trick.
Yes, Mike Super's final trick.
And he gets today's copy of USA Today. Because he just happened to stop at the store and buy that and a sweet treat.
Yes. And I really like this trick. I think it's an interesting way to do it.
He puts a bunch of dollars into a Thousandaires machine of, like, one of those, like, cash wind machines.
Yes.
And...
well, yeah, one of those, like, Winamatron things.
Yeah.
But what I like is he shows the money to I think it was a Carmen Electra, or no, it was one of the Deal or No Deal girls, and goes, look at these dollars. Can you tell that they're all different? And she goes, yes. And I was like, how? How would you tell that all the dollars were different? You're not inspecting them. You're looking at them in a pile. She goes into the Winamatron thing and gets $1.
Yes.
And the dollar has a serial number on it.
Yep.
And what do you know? He's predicted what the serial number would be. So much so that he put an ad in the USA Today.
Yeah.
That says it. Which he actually did.
And he tells her, like, can you guess what sweet treat I brought at the gas station when I bought this USA Today? And she successfully guesses chocolate chip cookie, which is also listed in the ad.
Yes. This is great because part of the trick was he said, go grab your USA Today to the audience. So if you were sitting at home, you could actually take part in this.
Yes.
This is a great effect.
It is.
Yes. Mike Super does a fantastic job with this.
Yeah.
It should be noted that voting is over. Like, you can't, these tricks are not make or break. But this is, like, one of the top tricks of the show, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a great finale trick. Because
Absolutely.
it leaves you... I think it's kind of smart, in a way, to do such a big trick on the finale, because even if you don't win, you can have that moment that makes you memorable.
Yeah, I mean, every episode of TV is someone's first episode. So if you have the best trick of the finale and you don't win, you're going to have that person going, why didn't Mike Super win? That was such a good trick. Time to waste more time and talk about Area 51 for a bit.
Yep. And again, another lame piece of filler. And then Angela comes out with a chainsaw!
Yes, it's time for Angela's
She
trick.
Zip ties Ross and puts tape over his mouth and tells him to pick a cubicle.
Yes. So he's locked in this, like, it's like a phone booth, but, like, no windows. And Angela is going to pick which one he's not in and destroy it with a chainsaw. So there's a chance that Ross will be dismembered in this trick. Great visual. It's Russian roulette again, but it's probably the best Russian roulette out of all of them. There's also some good production value in that there is a camera in all of the boxes.
Yeah.
So you can see the chainsaw going through. And on one of them, she does cut through the camera, which is fun to watch.
Well, and you can see, like, Ross freaking out in his cube every time.
Yeah, it's a fun little effect. And
she finishes off by actually sawing the lock off Ross's cubicle.
Yes.
To scare the crap out of him for
and
fun.
then Ross pops out. They untape his mouth, but they don't unzip tie him, and he's on stage zip tied for a while.
Yeah. And then Angela's dad filmed something, and none of Angela's family has come.
No.
They're all like, we're proud of you from over here. And, like, kind of makes you sad.
It does.
You're like, oh, buddy.
They then are going to reveal who came in third.
Yes.
So they're going to eliminate somebody. And it is Aaron Raven. So we're down to the final two. And I know that didn't sound like I gave that much gusto, but the show doesn't either. And it's Mike Super versus Angela Fulovitz.
But first, the envelope.
Oh, no, but first, the Bermuda Triangle.
Oh.
We spend like a couple minutes just being like, this area of the ocean. It's scary.
Guys, this was so unimportant. I didn't write any of these down.
I wrote them all down because they were all so annoying. Now let's talk about the envelope, because this is almost interesting.
Chris tries to get Uri to guess what's in the envelope.
Yes. And again, he's just like, I'll give you $1 million if you can tell me what it is. Yuri then starts saying things like,
we're going to reveal one of the envelopes. The other envelope will be revealed on the premiere episode of Mind Freak. Before I do that, I just would like to ask Mr. Uri Geller, in all due respect, would you like to take a gander at this?
I knew you'll challenge me once more.
$1 million.
But let me tell you something. Although we were born one day apart, I was born on the 20th of December and you on the 19th. There's a lot of...
I told you that, correct?
Lot of years between us, 40 years. You were 1 year old when I came out with my spoon bending.
I guess this is a no.
And I wish you a lot of success for 40
We need to know
years.
what's inside that envelope, please.
Here it is.
and he's just kind of like saying these like weird things about their relationship between one another. But he keeps kind of coming back to the numbers 19 and 1.
Yeah.
And after he does this a few times, Chris Angel goes, all right, I guess you don't know what's in the envelope, and just moves on. At this point, I pause it, and I look at Laura, and I go, so what's in the envelope? And Laura looks back at me and says, I don't know, for the troops?
Yeah, like, I think it's going to be something sappy and maudlin, like Cancer Kids or For the Troops.
You
like,
specifically said, I don't know, For the Troops.
That sounds right, yeah.
And then I unpause it.
It's a travesty that happened to people all around the world, but specifically to New Yorkers and people that were in New York. If somebody could predict and tell us on 9/10 that 9/11 was going to happen, maybe that could have prevented it. That's why it's a sad day that no one could do that, and people claim they can.
An incredibly sad day. Thank you so much for revealing that 9/11. Alas, the mystery has been solved. Thank you very much.
And in it is 9/11.
And I go, no!
I was joking, is what you yelled.
That sounds about right.
But, we gotta talk about a few things.
Can you, as a mentalist, guess how many G's are in the spelling of UGG in my notes?
Hold on. Focus. Look at me. Look at my eyes. Okay, you're looking away, which means it's not gonna work. So if I don't get this, it's your fault and not mine.
This is weird. It's making me uncomfortable.
Do you want me to? I want to be able to guess it. I want you. Look at me with your eyes, and I want you with your eyes to tell me how many. Okay, you're holding your hands up like you're the monster from Pan's Labyrinth, which is making me think it's 10.
Nope.
Let me see. I'm getting it. All right. 9/11.
No, 2.
Ah.
I had 2 hands up.
Oh, it was all right there. So there's a big debate about this moment.
Okay.
Because it looks like Uri Geller starts saying things about the numbers 1 and 19. And then Chris Angel goes, all right, you don't have it, and quickly opens it up. As if he was getting close with having 2 1s and a 9 to getting 9/11. Is it possible that Uri Geller somehow found out what was inside that envelope and was maybe doing some sort of big presentation of what it was, and Chris Angel was quickly trying to move along? Or did he use his powers to see through the envelope? I guess that's possible. But a lot of people who talk about Phenomenon, which is not a lot of people, point to this and say, Uri Geller was about to get it and Chris Angel quickly moved on. Based on how the rest of the show works, I'm pretty sure it was live TV and Uri Geller was taking a really long time to say anything of note.
Yeah.
And someone gave Chris Angel the wrap it up, we're going to run out of time symbol.
That makes perfect sense because they are clearly running out of time.
Yeah. So he reveals that it's 9/11. It's like, all right, now we got to find our winner. It's Mike.
Yeah.
It happens just like that.
And that's why we wanted to emphasize how much time is wasted in this finale. Because Mike barely gets a moment to celebrate.
Yeah, before the show's over. Like, he doesn't get to sing a moment like this.
He doesn't even really get to do, I would have thought they'd get to do, one last small little, trick.
Yes. Do something to make the confetti fall or whatever, or something like that. But no, it's just we are out of time. Mike Super's the Phenomenon. Moving on.
Yeah, there was so much filler. They were so afraid of not having enough content that they panicked, put too much filler, and the show was garbage.
Yes. So that's Phenomenon.
Yep.
I do have a few notes. Mike Super still still performing.
He is the first and only magician in history to win a live magic competition on primetime U.S. network television.
Yes.
Which is WWE level of specificity. You know how they're we're the #1 episodic television.
Weekly episodic television show, yeah.
It was that again.
He's using a lot of fancy words to build his resume instead of saying, I won Phenomenon.
Yes.
I did look into a few more people. Wayne Hoffman was on America's Got Talent. He was also on the A-List and was, or at least, a frequent guest on Glenn Beck. Also, if you pull up his Wikipedia, it's very obvious that Wayne Hoffman wrote it himself. His Wikipedia talks about, like, a harrowing car accident he went through, and, like, it's very clear that this was Wayne Hoffman, like, everyone needs to know my life story. I'll put it on Wikipedia. I looked a little bit into Aaron Raven. Aaron Raven is still a mentalist, but has also turned that into IT security jobs.
All right.
So you can reach out to Aaron Raven for all your IT needs. And Angela Fulovitz, if you go to her website, is listed as a magician/dermatologist.
She did say she was a med student.
So yeah, she became a dermatologist.
Good for her.
She's going to make your acne disappear. I could have said skin cancer and made it a little bit more prestigious. But it appears that everyone is still pretty much performing. I didn't look up absolutely everybody, but that's what Noah found when Noah did some research.
Noah did some research.
Yeah.
Anything you have to add before we give this a verdict?
I don't. You kind of said you were handling the research, so I didn't really do as much because you knew more of the magicians and magician energy.
So I have reached out to a bunch of these people. I'd love to have someone on the show to talk about this show because I find this to be a very unique reality show, and I would love to hear about like the backstage ongoings of this show and like what they were told and what they had to do and what they were told they couldn't do and couldn't say. Love to learn some of that stuff
for sure.
That being said, I think this show falls short because they're afraid to say the word illusion.
Yeah.
Like, they'll say effect, but they won't say trick, they won't say illusion. They are really presenting this as if all of these acts are actually happening and that these people have superhuman skills. Except for Jim Callahan, who has a superhuman skill that Chris Angel doesn't like, so we should ridicule him. Because he talks to ghosts. He has a ghost do his work, rather than being a superhero, like Chris Angel and Uri Geller are. So overall, I think the show fails because it is a performance-based television competition where you can't discuss the effects and like the execution of the performance.
And because it focuses so narrowly on a specific type of the performance, it gets old.
Yeah. The whole mentalist, like, by funneling everyone in as a mentalist, really limits the types of effects you can do.
For sure.
Because you can't just do, like, fun magic trick. You can't saw a woman in half.
Yeah, you can't do anything that does not require you to have psychic abilities in some fashion.
Yeah, there's also a lack of just fun. Like, all the tricks tend to have that, like, dark, brooding, like, I'm connecting with you, and there's, like, some sort of danger. Like,
almost like your audience was Chris Angel.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's a stay doomed from me.
It's a stay doomed for me as well.
Especially because I don't think it did all that much for Mike Super's career being the phenomenon. Because, like, as a fan of magic, I've never seen any of these people again. And this was during a time where I would seek out magic. So, I don't think I saw Uri Geller again. I don't know when the last time I saw him is. So, yeah, it's a stay doomed.
It's a stay doomed for me as well. I just think, even in the 5 episodes, the tricks felt super repetitive, so I don't know how they would have to up the ante for every subsequent episode and or season.
Yes. So that's going to do it for us here at Stay Doomed Studios. We forgot to pick what we're doing next week, so it'll be a surprise. Hopefully, there will be a link to it in the description, but we, at time of recording, don't know what it is.
Yep.
Or do I? I'm sending it to you psychically right now. Leave in the comments what you think it's going to be. If you'd like to talk to, or you could come talk to us, we have a brand new Discord. You can find a link down below. It used to be patrons only, but we wanted to open it up to everyone out there. I'm talking to you, Danish Guy Reviews. Come talk to us in our Discord. And we'll talk about Stay Doomed and all the other things that Plus 2 Comedy is doing. where can people find us?
You can email us at thestaydoomedshow@gmail.com or on Facebook and Twitter at Stay Doomed.
And if you have all of Celebradabra, please reach out to me on Twitter. I'm at +2comedy, or on Instagram, I'm at TVsNoah.
If you think that Ted the Snake should be the new mascot of Stay Doomed... Oh, Noah's giving me a face. Okay, if you want to book me in Canada so I can be an international performer, I am at Priorities on Twitter and at Glitter and Glow Tape on Instagram. Until next time, stay doomed.
I am an international performer. I performed in Greece.
You're special.
Not the musical.